Welcome to Zoe Stories. Caught mid-transformation in a women's dressing room. I never thought a normal day at the mall could turn my entire world upside down. Honestly, I was just hoping to grab a new hoodie, maybe a pair of jeans, and get back home before my brain even had the chance to overthink anything. But life has this cruel way of catching you in the middle of your own routine and flipping it entirely. It all started with her, my girlfriend, Lila. Gorgeous, bold, and terrifyingly persuasive. She had that kind of smile that made you feel both loved and cornered at the same time. And that day, she cornered me in front of a clothing store, her eyes gleaming with a mix of mischief and something darker, something that whispered, "You're mine now." "Come on, babe," she said, tugging my arm with a surprising strength. "You trust me, right?" I nodded, though my stomach twisted. I didn't fully understand what she had planned, but I didn't have a choice. With Lila, it was always her way, or an argument I wasn't equipped to win. She led me into a boutique I'd passed 100 times before, but never entered. The second we stepped inside, I felt a strange mix of excitement and dread. The air smelled of sweet perfume and freshly washed clothes, that odd mix that somehow makes you feel like you're entering a world entirely separate from reality. "You're going to help me with a little experiment," Lila whispered, her hand brushing against mine. My heart raced. Experiment? Before I could even ask, she pulled me into a back room, a small private space with mirrors lining the walls and a soft carpet that swallowed the sound of our footsteps. In the center stood a clothing rack, loaded with items I didn't even know existed: skirts, blouses, delicate lingerie, and shoes that could have doubled as medieval torture devices. "You're going to try something new," she said, tilting her head, her dark hair falling over one shoulder. "It's harmless, I promise. Just trust me." I tried to laugh it off, but my voice sounded foreign to me, almost squeaky with nerves. Okay." I barely managed. Lila's grin widened, and then she did something that made my pulse spike. She handed me a soft pink blouse.
"Here.
Try this first." I froze. My hands trembled as I took the garment, the fabric so soft it almost whispered against my fingers. I could feel my heart hammering in my chest. This was her plan, wasn't it? To strip away every layer of my old identity piece by piece. "Don't worry," she said, stepping closer, her perfume wrapping around me like a warm, suffocating hug. "I'll guide you. Just let it happen." Before I knew it, I was standing in front of the mirror, awkwardly trying to squeeze into the blouse while Lila guided my arms. Every movement felt foreign, like my body was betraying me. She adjusted the fabric, her hands lingering a second too long, and I could feel my face flush, my nerves tightening like a rope around my chest. "There," she whispered, stepping back to admire her work.
See?
"Not so bad. You're actually pretty."
Pretty.
That word hit me like a punch. My mind screamed, "No, I'm not." But my body betrayed me, responding to her words in ways I didn't understand. My cheeks burned, my stomach twisted, and for the first time, I realized the power she held over me. The power to make me see myself differently, to start reshaping my identity without a single argument. She didn't let me dwell on it. Before I could protest, she pulled out a short skirt, delicate and black, almost teasingly. "Next," she said, her voice soft but firm. "You'll put this on too. Trust me, it's just the beginning." I obeyed. My hands shook as I slid the skirt up, my mind screaming, "This isn't me.
This isn't me."
But Lila's eyes were hypnotic, filled with that strange mixture of love and dominance. I wanted to fight it, but every protest was swallowed by the strange thrill of her control. Then came the shoes' heels. I had never worn anything like them. They made me wobbly, exposed, and painfully aware of how unpracticed I was in the ways of femininity. Lila laughed softly, a sound that could be both cruel and comforting at the same time. "You'll get used to them," she whispered, "and I'll be right here." By the time she handed me the brush and the makeup, I was trembling. Lipstick, blush, eyeliner. Every stroke felt like a step further away from the boy I had been that morning. Yet, in that moment, I couldn't help but notice a strange sensation, a flicker of excitement, of curiosity. The mirror reflected someone I didn't know, or maybe someone I had been too scared to see. "You look incredible," Lila said, eyes sparkling. "Pretty, delicate mine." I swallowed hard, my heart hammering in my chest. I wanted to pull away, to scream, to run, but part of me couldn't. The reflection in the mirror, the girl staring back at me, felt almost right. And just as the wave of panic started to settle in, the door to the dressing room opened. A customer's voice floated in, curious and startled.
Oh,
I didn't know anyone was in here. Lila's hand found mine instantly. "Don't worry," she whispered. "This is only the beginning. Are you ready to see how deep this rabbit hole goes?" I wanted to shake my head, but all I could do was nod. My body felt foreign, my identity hanging by a thread, and yet a dangerous, exhilarating thrill ran through me. That was the moment I realized something terrifying and undeniable. My life would never be the same. And I wasn't sure if I wanted it to go back. As the door creaked open and the sound of footsteps approached, I caught my reflection one last time, a boy on the verge of becoming a girl, and wondered if I would ever recognize myself again. I didn't have much time to process what had just happened in the dressing room before Lila grabbed my hand and pulled me back out into the store. The bright fluorescent lights made my skin feel too exposed, the mirrors lining the walls showing me from angles I wasn't ready to see. Every reflection whispered the same thing: "You're no longer just a boy. You're something else now, and she's in control." "Relax," Lila said, her fingers curling around mine like a soft chain. "Just walk with me. You'll get used to it." I stumbled almost immediately, the heels making my legs wobble as if they belonged to someone else entirely. People glanced at me, a mix of curiosity, surprise, and subtle amusement. My face flushed crimson, my stomach twisting into knots. Every step felt like an audition I wasn't prepared for. "You look beautiful," Lila murmured, brushing a strand of hair from my face. "Do you feel it? That little spark?" I wanted to hate her, to scream, to rip the skirt and blouse off and run. But as much as I resisted, part of me, a tiny, hidden part, did feel that spark. The way the skirt hugged my hips, the way my chest felt lighter yet somehow delicate, the way my lips tingled from the lipstick she had applied. It was humiliating and intoxicating all at once. We walked slowly through the store, stopping at displays she pointed out, making me pose, adjusting my posture with gentle but firm nudges. Every correction, every whispered word of encouragement, was another thread pulling me further from the boy I used to be. "You're doing so well," she cooed.
see?
"People can't stop looking at you. They think you're special." I hated that I cared what strangers thought. I hated that their curious glances made me feel alive. Then came the test. Lila spotted a small group of women near the entrance, chatting and laughing. She nudged me forward, her hand firm on the small of my back. "Say hi," she instructed. "Smile. Be confident." My throat tightened. My voice cracked as I muttered a shaky hello. The women glanced at me, their eyes widening in polite surprise. One even whispered something to her friend. The words I couldn't hear, but the expression on her face made me wish I could disappear into the floor. Lila's grip didn't loosen.
Good.
"Keep your chin up. Walk with me." I wanted to shrink, to hide, to erase the reflection of this strange, new version of myself. But every step I took beside her, guided by her hands, reshaped me. The wobble of my legs, the tilt of my hips, the delicate placement of my hands, all of it was molding me, teaching me how to exist as something other than who I had been. We left the boutique and stepped into the mall. The lights were harsher here, the sounds louder, music from the stores, laughter from teenagers, the endless chatter of shoppers. And with every step, every glance from strangers, my cheeks burned hotter. "You're so pretty," Lila whispered in my ear, her breath sending shivers down my spine. "No one would guess you're, well, you know you." I didn't want to admit it, but the word pretty pierced something deep inside me. My heartbeat quickened, my chest tightened, and for a terrifying moment, I thought I could actually believe her. Then came the first real humiliation. We stopped near a kiosk where a few women were trying on scarves. One of them turned and looked directly at me, her eyes sharp and curious. "Oh my, look at you," she said, loud enough for everyone around to hear. "You're so delicate." I froze. My lips parted, but no sound came out. My body felt like it was betraying me as the warmth of embarrassment spread across my face and neck. Lila, however, seemed thrilled. "See," she said, squeezing my hand. "They notice. You're irresistible." Irresistible. That word, the way it rolled off her tongue, made me feel exposed and strangely flattered. My mind screamed in protest, but my body betrayed me again. A small, almost imperceptible shiver ran down my spine, and I knew Lila noticed it. Her eyes sparkled with triumph. We kept walking. Every step was a mixture of humiliation and strange exhilaration. Lila guided me past the food court, past the clothing stores, each glance from a stranger stabbing into me like 1,000 tiny needles. Yet at the same time, I felt a growing, dangerous curiosity. What if I could be this girl? What if the world saw me this way, and I liked it? "Look at you," Lila whispered, twirling me slightly so I could see my reflection in the mall's glass walls. "You're beautiful, darling. You're becoming her." I didn't know who her was anymore. The reflection staring back at me, the soft lips, the flushed cheeks, the delicate frame, was a stranger and a possibility all at once. My mind fought it, screamed against it, but the seed she planted was already growing. Then, as if on cue, a group of teenage boys passed by. One nudged the other, and both turned, staring with barely concealed amusement. "Is that a guy?" one of them whispered loudly enough for me to hear. I froze, mortified, my legs trembling. My ears burned. I wanted to sink into the floor and disappear. But Lila's hand tightened around mine, grounding me, giving me courage I didn't feel. "Ignore them," she murmured. "They don't matter. They'll never see what I see." And somehow, her words helped. I managed a small nod, lifted my chin, and walked on, my steps still wobbly, but a little firmer. The humiliation lingered, sharp and painful, but intertwined with it was a dangerous thrill. The first public step of a transformation I didn't fully understand yet. By the time we returned to the boutique, my knees were shaking, my heart racing, and my mind spinning. I had survived public exposure, humiliation, and the first real taste of the girl I was becoming, all under Lila's controlling, intoxicating gaze. She smiled at me, her eyes soft but dominant. "You did so well. I'm proud of you, my pretty girl. And this is only the beginning." As she led me back into the dressing room, I caught my reflection in the mirror one last time. Wobbly heels, flushed cheeks, trembling hands. And in that reflection, I saw the fragile, first layer of the girl I was slowly becoming. The boutique dressing room smelled faintly of perfume and soft fabrics, but that familiar scent no longer comforted me. It suffocated me. I stepped inside, my heels clicking unevenly against the carpet, my reflection multiplying in the mirrors until it felt like I was surrounded by a dozen versions of the same terrified boy. Only now, the boy was wearing a skirt, a blouse, and delicate makeup. Lila closed the door behind us and moved closer, her fingers brushing lightly along my jawline. "Look at yourself," she said softly, almost reverently. "Really look. Don't just see him, see her." I froze. The mirror reflected someone I didn't recognize, soft features I had never possessed, wide eyes framed with mascara, lips painted a subtle pink. My chest rose and fell rapidly. The lipstick she had applied earlier still tingled, the smell sweet and floral. My hands shook, my body betraying me, as I stared at this stranger staring back. "Touch your face," she instructed. "Feel it. This is you now, at least the first step." My fingers traced the smooth curve of my cheek, over the blush she had carefully applied. I wanted to pull away, to protest, but her eyes held mine with a strength I couldn't resist. Every touch, every glance was shaping me, molding me into someone I didn't fully understand, and yet, part of me felt a dangerous thrill at being admired, being pretty. "Let's take it further," Lila whispered, producing a delicate lace bra from a small box. My stomach twisted into knots. "No, I can't," I started, my voice cracking. Her fingers pressed softly against my lips, silencing me. "Sho, trust me. This is just the next step. You can do it." I hesitated, but the warmth of her hand, the certainty in her voice, pushed me forward. My fingers trembled as I fastened the bra, the unfamiliar weight and shape feeling absurd yet oddly comforting. I looked at the mirror, my reflection now more feminine, more delicate. Panic surged through me, yet beneath it, a flicker of curiosity burned. Lila stepped behind me, adjusting the straps, whispering instructions with a mix of sweetness and control. "Perfect. Look at yourself. Isn't she beautiful?" I swallowed hard, tears prickling my eyes. Humiliation, fear, and a strange excitement churned together in my chest. I hated that I liked it, that my reflection, my new self, elicited a thrill I couldn't explain. Next came the skirt adjustments. Lila lifted it slightly, smoothing it over my hips, her fingers lingering longer than necessary. Every touch sent shivers down my spine, my mind spinning with shame and forbidden curiosity. "Now shoes," she instructed, holding out another pair of heels, taller this time. My legs shook violently as I stepped into them, wobbling, almost falling. She caught me effortlessly, holding me close. "You're safe. I've got you." Her closeness, her dominance wrapped in sweetness, made my body betray me again. Heat rushed to places I didn't want to admit, my heartbeat erratic. I hated the feeling, yet I couldn't stop it. Finally came makeup, eyeliner, mascara, eyeshadow, each brush stroke magnifying my alien femininity. Lila's hands were gentle but firm, correcting every error, praising every successful application. "Yes, yes, just like that," she whispered. "You're learning quickly." By the time she handed me a wig, my knees were weak. Long, silky strands of hair tumbled over my shoulders, framing my face perfectly. I hardly recognized the girl in the mirror, yet part of me wanted to be her. "You're ready," Lila said, stepping back to admire me. Her eyes sparkled with triumph. "Now, let's see if you can handle the real world." I felt my stomach twist. The real world, outside the boutique, had already been humiliating enough. But Lila's touch, her control, made me hesitate. Part of me wanted to obey, to continue this transformation she demanded. She grabbed my hand and pulled me toward the exit. "First public test," she whispered. "Mall food court. People will see. Don't worry. I'll be right here." My heart raced as we stepped out. The heels clicked loudly, announcing my presence. People glanced, some curious, some judgmental. My cheeks burned, my hands trembled. Every step felt like walking on a knife's edge between fear and a strange, dangerous thrill. Then she leaned in, her lips brushing my ear. "Look at you," she murmured. "Beautiful."
Pretty.
"Mine." The words hit me like a jolt of electricity. My reflection in the glass windows along the corridor caught my eye, the delicate girl I was becoming, exposed to the world, trembling yet undeniably real. A group of teenagers passed by, whispering and laughing, their stares burning. I froze, mortified. Lila's hand tightened around mine, grounding me. "Ignore them," she whispered. "They don't see what I see. But you feel it, don't you?" I swallowed, my lips trembling. I don't know." She smiled, a mix of cruelty and love.
Good.
That uncertainty, that's where the real transformation begins. As we approached the food court, the fluorescent lights reflecting off the shiny floor, I caught my reflection in a large window. Wobbly heels, delicate skirt, flushed cheeks, and the first real flicker of acceptance, the terrifying, thrilling realization that I might never be just a boy again. The mall food court was alive with noise, the clatter of trays, chatter, laughter, and the endless hum of music from surrounding stores. Every step I took in my wobbling heels felt like a spotlight on me, each glance from strangers burning my skin. My reflection in the glass walls multiplied my humiliation, showing me over and over again as someone I barely recognized. Lila held my hand firmly, guiding me toward an empty table. "Sit," she said softly, but with that edge of dominance I had learned to obey. I lowered myself onto the chair, my skirt hitching slightly as I adjusted. My hands shook, gripping the edge of the table. I felt exposed in ways I had never imagined. The stares were subtle but relentless, eyes flicking over my delicate frame, lingering on my painted lips and trembling hands. "Look at you," Lila whispered, brushing a strand of hair behind my ear. "So pretty, so fragile. Everyone notices, and that's exactly how it should be." I wanted to argue, to retreat, to hide. Instead, my lips quivered, and I felt the familiar rush of shame mixed with something else. My body responded despite my mind screaming protests. Every word from her, every touch, chipped away at the boy I had been that morning. A group of teenage girls passed by, whispering and giggling. One of them stopped abruptly, tilting her head to look at me more closely. "Wow, she's really beautiful," she murmured, loud enough for me to hear. I froze. My cheeks burned hotter than ever. I wanted the ground to swallow me. Lila's hand squeezed mine. "Yes, they see it," she whispered. "And deep down you know it too." The humiliation was intoxicating. Every glance, every comment, every subtle whisper chipped away at my old identity. I realized that I liked the attention in a way I couldn't admit. The word pretty, whispered by strangers, echoed in my mind, mixing shame and arousal in a confusing, dangerous cocktail. Then came the real test, ordering food. Lila handed me a tray.
Go on. Talk to them.
"You can do it." My throat tightened as I approached the counter, my heels wobbling with every step. The cashier, a young woman with sharp eyes, glanced at me, raising an eyebrow. "Hi, can I get a cheeseburger?" My voice cracked, almost feminine without meaning to. The cashier smirked. "Sure, miss?" I froze, mortified. "Why, yeah, that's me." Lila appeared behind me, her hand resting possessively on my back. "See," she murmured. "You're already being accepted. You're becoming her, even in small ways." The tray in my hands felt like a balancing act between my old self and this new persona she was sculpting. Every wobble, every tremor in my voice was a silent surrender. And yet, beneath the fear and embarrassment, a part of me, small, terrifying, felt exhilarated. As I walked back to the table, I caught a glimpse of my reflection in the polished floor tiles. The girl staring back had flushed cheeks, delicate features, trembling hands, and a spark of something I couldn't name yet. Acceptance? Curiosity?
Desire?
I didn't know, and that terrified me even more than the humiliation itself. Lila sat across from me, eyes gleaming. "You're doing so well. I'm proud of you. But remember, this is only the beginning. Next, we push boundaries even further." Her words hung over me like a promise and a threat. I knew she was right. There was no turning back. Every step, every glance, every whispered word of praise or correction would push me deeper into this new identity. And part of me wanted that. As I took another bite of my burger, the reflection in the glass caught my eye. The girl staring back at me was trembling, exposed, terrified, and impossibly real. For the first time, I wondered if I would ever recognize the boy I used to be. Back in the boutique dressing room, the air felt thicker, warmer, almost intoxicating. I was trembling from the public exposure, my face still flushed from stares, whispers, and the humiliation I had endured in the food court. But Lila's presence was magnetic, a tether I couldn't break. "Sit," she instructed, pointing to a small stool in front of a full-length mirror. Her eyes sparkled with that dangerous mix of dominance and affection that had been my undoing from the very beginning. On the counter lay a small box filled with delicate lace, lingerie so intricate, so undeniably feminine, that I didn't even know it existed. My heart thumped violently. "You'll wear this," Lila said, holding up a black lace bra and matching panties. "Just for me for now." I froze, my throat tightening.
I
I can't, I whispered, my voice shaking. Her hand cupped my chin, tilting my face toward her. Shush, she cooed. You can. And you will. Because you want to, even if you're scared. This is part of becoming her. I swallowed hard. My hands trembled as I reached for the delicate fabric. The moment it touched my skin, it sent shivers down my spine. A mix of shame, fear, and something dangerously pleasurable. Lila guided me step by step, helping me fasten the bra, adjusting it until it fit perfectly. Her fingers lingered longer than necessary, tracing the curve of my chest. My cheeks burned, my stomach twisted, and I felt a thrill I wasn't supposed to feel. There, she whispered, stepping back. Already so delicate, so feminine. Look at yourself. I did. My reflection now showed a girl in lace, my face flushed, my hands trembling, and my chest slightly raised. I didn't recognize the reflection, yet there was an undeniable spark, a strange, dangerous curiosity burning inside me. Next, she said, producing makeup brushes, eyeshadow, eyeliner, and lipstick. We refine her. Every detail counts. Her hands guided mine as I applied mascara for the first time, her voice soft but commanding. Not like that, more gently. Yes, perfect. You're learning quickly. Every brush stroke reshaped me. Every correction humiliated me, yet beneath the shame, I felt the thrill of becoming something new, something fragile and delicate. Finally, she handed me a wig, long, silky, dark strands that fell over my shoulders. Put this on, she instructed. She needs hair too. As the wig settled over my head, framing my face perfectly, I barely recognized myself. The boy I had been that morning was gone, replaced by this trembling, delicate girl staring back from the mirror. And yet, a small part of me, the part Lila had been nurturing all along, liked it. You look incredible, Lila whispered, eyes gleaming. Absolutely beautiful. I wanted to hate her, to reject her praise, to tear off the wig and bra and run. But my body betrayed me, tingling with every word, every touch. My heart raced, and I realized with a jolt that I craved her approval, her control, her guidance. Then came the final, most humiliating step, walking. Lila guided me across the room in my heels, correcting my posture, the tilt of my hips, the sway of my hands. Every step was awkward, exposed, humiliating, and thrilling. You're mine now, she whispered as I stumbled slightly. Every wobble, every flush, every nervous glance, it all belongs to me. I trembled, my reflection fracturing in the mirrors around me. The girl staring back was trembling, exposed, terrified, and impossibly real. My chest tightened, my face burned, and I knew with terrifying clarity there was no turning back. As Lila leaned close, brushing her lips against my ear, I realized the truth I had been trying to deny. I was already hers, body and mind. And she wasn't done yet. The bell above the boutique door jingled as Lila led me out, the mall now buzzing with shoppers. I froze, my heels threatening to betray me, my skirt swaying with each hesitant step. Relax, she whispered, her fingers entwining with mine. You're ready for this. Just breathe.
breathe.
The word felt hollow in my chest, my stomach twisting in knots as eyes turned toward me. I could feel their curiosity, like invisible hands on my skin, measuring me, judging me. I hated it. I hated myself for hating it and for feeling something else entirely. Lila guided me toward a clothing store across the mall, insisting we try on a few new outfits. Her plan was clear. I needed to experience being seen, noticed, even admired, in public, while under her control. The first test came at the entrance. A group of teenage girls stared, whispers like static in my ears. One of them smirked. Is that a guy? My knees shook. I wanted to run, to hide, to melt into the floor. But Lila's hand was steady, guiding me forward, her presence a tether I couldn't resist. You're hers now, she murmured, her lips brushing my ear. Own it. Just a little for me. Every step I took was a contradiction, humiliation and strange exhilaration mixing into a dizzying swirl. I felt every pair of eyes on me, some confused, some impressed, some subtly amused. And I hated how my heart raced in response. Inside the store, Lila had me try on a series of dresses. She instructed me on posture, how to tilt my hips, how to smile just enough, teasing perfection. Each outfit made me feel more exposed, more vulnerable, yet strangely beautiful. When I looked at my reflection, I didn't see the boy from that morning. I saw a girl trembling in high heels, skirt swaying, makeup flawless, wig cascading perfectly. And with every glance, I felt her growing presence, Lila's girl, both terrifying and intoxicating. The real test came when a store clerk approached, asking politely if I needed help. My voice wavered as I answered, higher and softer than I had ever spoken before. "You sound different," the clerk said with a smile. "Very feminine." My face burned. Lila's eyes sparkled. "See," she whispered, "you're becoming her. And people notice. You're beautiful." Humiliation, pride, and something I couldn't name churned inside me. Each word, each glance, each subtle compliment was another thread pulling me from the boy I used to be. By the time we left the store, my confidence had grown slightly. Not enough to erase the fear or the shame, but enough to feel the first taste of power in being seen, in being transformed under her control. Lila's hand tightened around mine as we walked toward the exit. "You did so well today," she said softly. "But this is only the beginning. Tomorrow, even more." As I caught my reflection in the glass doors of the mall, I saw her, the girl I was becoming, trembling, exposed, but undeniably real. And for the first time, I wondered if I wanted to go back. The mall seemed impossibly large that day, each corridor echoing with laughter, chatter, and the constant shuffle of feet. My heels clicked sharply against the polished tiles, each step a reminder of how exposed I was. Lila held my hand firmly, but her grip felt both comforting and possessive, a silent assertion of control I couldn't escape. "You're doing so well," she murmured. "Just look around, everyone notices you. And that's exactly what we want." I didn't want to look. I wanted to disappear, sink into the floor, erase myself. But my eyes betrayed me, flicking to strangers' faces, women whispering, glancing, turning heads, men smirking, curiosity etched across their expressions. My cheeks burned. "Stop hiding," Lila said, her voice soft but commanding. "You're hers now. Own it. Own it." The words echoed in my mind, both terrifying and intoxicating. I hated that I wanted to, even slightly. Every stare was a brush of invisible hands, every whisper a spark of forbidden excitement. Then it happened. A group of teenage boys approached, loud and confident. One nudged the other, whispering just loud enough for me to hear. "Dude, is that really a guy?" I froze, heart hammering, legs threatening to collapse under the heels. My voice caught in my throat. I wanted to run, hide, anything to escape the scrutiny. But Lila's hand tightened on mine, anchoring me. "Ignore them," she whispered. "They don't see what matters. Only I do." Her words, her control, made me shiver. My embarrassment was unbearable, yet beneath it was that same dangerous thrill, the one that had started in the dressing room. I hated that it excited me, that her praise and dominance made my body betray my mind. We continued walking, Lila guiding me past shops and kiosks, making me practice smiling at strangers, adjusting my posture, tilting my hips. Every correction was humiliating, every glance from others a test I couldn't fail. A woman stopped near a display, tilting her head at me. "Excuse me, I love your style," she said warmly. "Where did you get that skirt?" I froze, panic surging. My voice shook as I answered softly, almost feminine without intending to. The boutique over there." The woman smiled and walked away. My cheeks burned hotter than ever. Lila leaned close, whispering, "See? You're already making an impression. People notice her, you." I wanted to hate her. I wanted to scream. Instead, I felt a small, terrifying thrill. The humiliation and approval twisted together, creating a sensation I didn't understand, a mix of shame, excitement, and possibility. Later, we paused at a glass storefront. I caught my reflection, flushed cheeks, delicate features, soft hair framing my face. I barely recognized the girl staring back. My trembling hands, my wobbly stance, the faint quiver in my lips, it was all hers now. Lila's girl. You're beautiful, Lila whispered, brushing my cheek with her fingers. Do you feel it yet? That spark. I couldn't answer. My throat constricted, my body betraying me with a shiver that raced through my spine. Part of me did feel it, and that terrified me more than anything. Tomorrow, Lila murmured, her voice darkly sweet, we'll go further. Public exposure, new outfits, you'll start believing it yourself. And by then, there will be no turning back. As we walked toward the exit, I caught my reflection in the large window. The girl staring back was trembling, exposed, and painfully real. And I realized, with a shiver I couldn't control, I might already be falling into her world, into myself, into her control. The boutique was quiet now, the evening crowd thinning, but the tension inside me was far from gone. Lila guided me to a large mirror, its frame ornate and imposing, reflecting every inch of me with unforgiving clarity. Sit, she commanded softly, almost teasingly. Tonight, we perfect her. Every detail matters. I sank onto the stool, my heels clicking against the floor. The lace bra, the skirt, the makeup I had learned to apply were all in place, yet I felt raw, exposed, and painfully aware of the girl I had become. First the eyes, Lila whispered, producing a new set of brushes and shadows. You need to learn control, precision, elegance. My fingers shook as I tried to apply eyeshadow. Lila leaned over me, correcting every stroke, her hands brushing mine deliberately. The touch was intoxicating, humiliating, and thrilling at the same time. Every correction was a subtle assertion of dominance, a reminder that I was hers to shape. Don't mess up, she said, voice soft but edged with authority. People will notice mistakes, and mistakes are not allowed. I bit my lip, cheeks burning, feeling both fear and a strange excitement. With each stroke of the brush, I was no longer just a boy learning makeup. I was her, under Lila's guidance, becoming someone new. Next came the blush and contouring. She guided my hands with a teasing touch, correcting the angle, the pressure, the placement. Each adjustment made my pulse spike. My cheeks burned not only from embarrassment, but from the subtle thrill of her control. You're doing wonderfully, Lila murmured. But now lips. She handed me a delicate pink lipstick, insisting I apply it myself. My hands trembled, the reflection staring back at me almost mocking my inexperience. She leaned close, whispering guidance with a soft, sultry tone that made my chest tighten. Finally, the wig. Lila adjusted it meticulously, brushing the long strands over my shoulders, shaping my face within its frame. My reflection now showed a girl flawless, delicate, and unmistakably feminine. You're beautiful, she said, eyes sparkling. Absolutely perfect. I wanted to protest, to deny the thrill rushing through me, but my lips quivered as shame and something else, desire, maybe, collided inside me. I could feel her control, her influence, shaping not just my appearance but my mind. Then she smiled, mischievous and dangerous. Now let's see how you handle a little public teasing. She guided me to a small nearby cafe, asking me to pose for her discreetly in the large window. Passers-by glanced, some with curiosity, some with subtle admiration. Every eye felt like a small, electrifying humiliation. You're hers now, Lila whispered in my ear. Every glance, every comment, every thought about you belongs to me. You feel it, don't you? I trembled, unable to deny it. Part of me hated it, and part of me ached to feel it more. As the evening ended, Lila took my hand, pulling me back into the boutique. Tomorrow, she murmured, we take the next step. Full outfit, public walking. And by then, you'll start believing it yourself. I looked at my reflection in the mirror one last time that night. Delicate features, trembling lips, painted eyes. The girl staring back was not me. Not fully, yet undeniably real. And I realized, with a shiver I couldn't control, that I might already be hers forever. Morning light filtered through Lila's apartment blinds, soft and golden, but my heart was racing before I even opened my eyes. I could feel her watching me. "You slept as her," Lila whispered, brushing a lock of my hair from my cheek. "That's progress." I blinked, disoriented. My reflection in the nearby mirror showed smudged eyeliner and soft curls from the night before. I didn't even remember falling asleep. Only the warmth of her words, the pulse of her commands echoing in my head. Today was different. I could feel it before she even said the words. "Get up," Lila said with that silky firmness that left no room for question. "We're going out." Full look. Full confidence. My throat tightened. "Lila, She smiled, almost sweetly. No hesitation. "You've learned everything. The walk, the voice, the posture. Now we see if she can survive the world." I swallowed hard, standing shakily as she unveiled the outfit laid out on the bed. A light summer dress, soft pastel pink, paired with nude heels and a delicate purse. Every piece was chosen to accentuate my softness, to erase the last traces of the boy I used to be. Lila dressed me slowly, her hands gentle yet purposeful. Each button, each adjustment of the hem, each touch of perfume, it all built layers over my old self. By the time she stepped back, her satisfied smirk said everything. "Perfect," she murmured. "She's ready." We took the bus, her idea. It was busy, loud, and mercilessly public. My heart pounded in my throat as I clutched my purse, eyes down. Every vibration of the bus making my heels shift slightly on the floor.
People glanced.
Some smiled. Some didn't care. And that made it worse. The fact that I could blend in. That I could actually pass. One woman beside me complimented my hair. "It's so shiny," she said warmly. "Is it natural?" My voice came out soft, uncertain but higher than usual. "Oh, sort of." Lila's hand squeezed mine. "She takes care of herself," she said proudly, her eyes gleaming. The woman smiled. "Well, it shows. You're beautiful." Beautiful. The word hit like lightning. My chest ached, my heart fluttered, and for a terrifying second, I liked it. We stepped off at the mall, the same one where this had all begun. Lila was deliberate, guiding me toward familiar spaces, the dressing rooms, the mirrors, the spots that had haunted me.
"Walk tall," she said.
She's not hiding anymore. The mall's polished floors reflected every step I took, every sway of my hips that Lila had taught me. I tried to focus on my breathing, but all I could hear was the rhythm of my heels, echoing louder than my heartbeat. Then came the real test. Lila led me to a cosmetics counter. "Ask her," she whispered. The clerk turned, smiling brightly. "Hi there. How can I help you?" My throat was dry. I need something for oily skin." The words came out soft, trembling but believable. The clerk nodded, chatting casually as she tested a few shades on my cheek. Lila stood behind me, her expression unreadable, but her eyes gleamed with pride. I caught my reflection in a side mirror, smiling softly, lipstick perfect, eyes lined just right. For a split second, I forgot to feel ashamed. For a split second, I believed it. When we finally stepped out into the open air, Lila turned to me.
"See?
The world accepted her. Now it's your turn." I looked at her, my voice breaking. "What if I don't know how to go back?" Her smile softened. "Maybe you're not supposed to." As we walked back to the bus stop, a familiar voice called my name, my real name. I froze, blood running cold. Someone from my past had seen me, and the girl in pink heels had nowhere to hide. The bustling mall seemed to slow down as a familiar voice pierced through the noise. "Wait, isn't that?" I froze mid-step. My blood ran cold. The voice wasn't just any passerby. It was Alex, my childhood friend. Someone who had known the boy I used to be, someone who could see through the delicate girl I was pretending to be. Lila's grip on my hand tightened. Her eyes gleamed, dark and controlled. "Relax," she whispered. "We can handle this." But I couldn't relax. Panic surged. My heart hammered against my ribs, heels wobbling on the polished floor. I wanted to run, to disappear into the crowd, to rip off the dress and wig and scream that this wasn't me. Alex stopped a few feet away, squinting. "Zach, is that you?" The word Zach landed like a hammer. Every muscle in my body tensed. I felt my cheeks burning, my knees weak. The girl in the mirror, the one Lila had molded, trembled uncontrollably. Lila stepped closer, brushing a strand of hair from my cheek, her touch both possessive and commanding. "She's hers now," she murmured softly, right in my ear. "And we can turn this into something useful." "What do you mean?" I whispered, voice barely audible. "Watch," she said with a sly smile. She tilted my chin upward, forcing me to meet Alex's gaze. "Smile. Introduce her. Let the world see her." I shook my head violently, panic clawing at my chest. "No. I can't. He'll know." Lila's fingers pressed against my lips. "Shh, don't think about him. Think about me. Think about her. You're safe. And you're beautiful. Remember that." With trembling hands, I forced a weak smile. My voice came out higher than I intended. "Hi, Alex." His eyes widened, disbelief and confusion battling across his face. "Zach, you look different." Different. The word hit me like a punch. I was different. Not just in appearance, but in every way that mattered. My posture, my voice, my trembling hands, they screamed the truth I was struggling to deny. Lila's hand rested lightly on my shoulder, a silent anchor. "Yes," she said softly. "She's different. She's wonderful." Alex stepped closer, eyes scanning me, his expression torn between recognition and bewilderment. I don't what happened." I couldn't answer. My lips quivered, words trapped in a storm of fear and shame. Every fiber of my being screamed to escape, yet Lila's presence held me firmly. "You see," she whispered, voice darkly sweet, "this is why we do it. Everyone must see her, even those who knew him. And you'll learn to love it." I swallowed hard. Panic, humiliation, and an unexpected flicker of something else churned inside me. My reflection in a nearby glass window mirrored my emotions. Flushed cheeks, wide eyes, trembling lips. The girl staring back was undeniably real. Alex hesitated, unsure how to respond. Lila smiled, her fingers brushing my cheek, then releasing me. "It's okay," she said aloud. "She's happy this way. Don't you agree?" I forced another weak smile, my mind spinning. Was I happy? Part of me still clung to the boy I had been, but the other part, the part Lila had been shaping, trembled with a dangerous, undeniable thrill. Alex's eyes narrowed, suspicion and curiosity mingling. He knew something had changed, something irreversibly. And I realized with a shiver. The trap was closing tighter, and there was no running back. Not while Lila held me in her control. Alex stepped closer, his gaze sharp, studying me from head to toe. His eyes flicked over my pastel dress, delicate heels, and the subtle curve of my figure. "Zach, what happened to you?" he asked, his voice low but urgent. I froze, unsure how to respond. Every instinct screamed to hide, to run, to retreat into the familiar boy I had been. But Lila's hand on my waist kept me grounded, a tether I couldn't break. "Go on," she whispered softly, her voice silk and steel. "Tell him, or let me show you how to answer." I shook my head, panic bubbling inside. I don't know." Lila's fingers cupped my chin, tilting my face toward mine. "Shh, look at me. Forget him for a moment. Focus on her, on us." Her words, her closeness, sent a jolt through me. Panic mixed with something else, a dangerous, forbidden thrill. My cheeks burned, and yet my body betrayed me, trembling in response. Alex took a step closer. "I don't understand," he said, confusion and concern etched across his face. "You look like a girl." But it's you, right? Zach. Lila smiled, a soft, controlled curve of her lips.
Yes.
She is him, and she isn't. He's gone, at least for now. And she's perfect. Don't you agree? My lips quivered. I wanted to scream, to deny, to claw back my identity. But Alex's presence, combined with Lila's dominance, made me hesitate. The girl in the mirror, trembling, delicate, exposed, was undeniably real. And part of me wanted to belong to her world. Alex frowned, his eyes narrowing. This isn't normal. Why are you letting her do this to you? Lila's hand slid down my arm, firm and possessive. Because he wanted it, even if he doesn't realize it yet. And because I want to guide him, control him, shape him. He's already halfway there. Her words were like a vice tightening around my chest. Panic surged, but beneath it, a flicker of excitement. I hated myself for feeling it, but it was real. Alex reached out, hesitating. Zach. I don't know what's going on, but... Lila stepped forward, placing herself between us, her eyes blazing. Don't, she said softly, almost a warning. You don't get to decide. She belongs to me now. And he's learning what it means to be her. Alex froze, uncertainty flashing in his eyes. I could feel Lila's dominance radiating from her, a physical weight pressing me into submission. Every instinct I had screamed to resist, to run, but I couldn't. I'm sorry, I whispered, voice cracking. I'm her now. The words felt alien, humiliating, yet they held a strange, undeniable truth. Lila smiled, running her fingers along my jawline. Good. That's all I needed to hear. Accepting her is the first step. The rest will come. Alex shook his head slowly, confusion and concern battling across his face. I don't know what to say. Lila leaned close to me, her lips brushing my ear. Don't worry about him. He'll adjust. You focus on being perfect, on being mine. And every day, you'll feel her more. More real. More irresistible. Her words wrapped around me like chains, binding, suffocating, thrilling. I felt exposed, humiliated, and yet alive in a way I couldn't understand. The panic, the shame, the desire, all tangled together, forming something I couldn't fight. As Alex backed away, still staring in disbelief, I caught my reflection in the mall's glass. The girl staring back was trembling, blushing, and undeniably real. And I realized, with a shiver that ran from my toes to my scalp, there was no turning back. Not now. Not ever. The weekend crowd in the downtown square was bustling, a chaotic mix of shoppers, tourists, and street performers. My heels clicked sharply against the cobblestones, each step echoing like a drumbeat reminding me of how exposed I was. Lila held my hand, her grip firm but gentle, a tether that kept me from fleeing. Her eyes sparkled with that dangerous mix of pride and control that had dominated my life these past weeks. Remember, she whispered, brushing her fingers lightly over my wrist, you're hers. Every glance, every thought, every word belongs to her. You're beautiful. Be proud. I wanted to shrink into myself, to disappear into the crowd. But there was nowhere to hide. Every passerby's eyes flicked toward me, some curious, some appreciative, some subtly amused. I could feel their attention pressing in, measuring me, testing me. Lila guided me to a small outdoor cafe. Sit here, she instructed, positioning me near the window. Smile. Let them see her. Let them admire her. I obeyed, my chest tight, my hands trembling. I barely recognized the reflection in the cafe window, flushed cheeks, delicate lips, soft curls framing my face, a girl molded by Lila's hands. The sensation of being observed, exposed, yet admired, made my stomach twist in ways I didn't understand. A nearby woman leaned slightly, whispering to her friend, "Look at her, she's gorgeous." The words hit me like ice and fire at the same time. Heat flooded my cheeks. Embarrassment clawed at my chest. And yet, a strange, undeniable thrill raced through me. Lila squeezed my hand, her voice soft but commanding.
See?
She's already winning. They can't look away. You love it, don't you? I shook my head subtly, unable to speak. My voice would betray me, crack, reveal my fear. Or worse, reveal the spark of something else, something dangerous that I couldn't name. A young man at a nearby table looked up, his eyes briefly meeting mine. He smiled politely. Hi. I just wanted to say you look really nice. My knees nearly buckled. Lila's eyes glittered with satisfaction. She's irresistible, isn't she? You're learning how it feels to be her. Every compliment, every glance, every whispered word around me was a tiny chain, tying me closer to this new identity. I felt panic, humiliation, and yet longing. The paradox was unbearable. Lila leaned close, brushing her lips near my ear. You're hers now. Every thought, every glance, every heartbeat belongs to me. And soon, you won't even remember who you were before. The words sank into me like molten gold, intoxicating, terrifying. My hands shook, my chest tightened, and I realized, with a shiver that ran from my toes to my scalp, she was right. I was hers, body and mind. The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the square. I could feel every eye on me, every whispered comment, every tiny notice of my presence. And for the first time, I wondered, did I want to go back? Or was I already lost willingly to the girl in the mirror, to Lila's control, to the thrill of being her in public? As I turned to Lila, trembling, she smiled and whispered, Tomorrow we take her to the next level. Full transformation. Private and public. And by then there will be no turning back. The late afternoon sun streamed through the boutique's tall windows, painting the room in shades of gold and amber. I stood frozen in front of the mirror, my reflection no longer a boy I recognized but a carefully crafted version of someone else, someone I didn't fully understand. Lila's voice cut through the silence, soft but sharp. Today is the final test, she said. No hiding. No excuses. The world will see her, and so will you, completely, without doubt. I swallowed hard. My chest felt tight, my heart racing. For weeks, every step, every outfit, every word had been leading to this moment. And now, the culmination pressed down on me like a weight I couldn't lift. Look at yourself, Lila commanded. Her fingers traced the edge of the mirror, a ghostly reminder that she was the one controlling this transformation. Do you recognize her? Or are you still clinging to the boy you used to be? I did not answer. My voice was trapped somewhere between fear and awe. Every fiber of my being screamed to run, to escape, to reclaim the life I once knew. But at the same time, the girl in the mirror, poised, trembling, fragile, and undeniably real, stared back at me. And a terrifying thought crept in. Maybe there was no going back. Good, Lila said, her smile slow, deliberate. Because today, everyone will see her. And you will survive it. You will own it. We walked out into the city streets, my heels clicking on the pavement, each sound echoing like a countdown. Crowds passed, glances flicked toward me, and every whisper, every subtle gaze made my stomach churn. I felt exposed, vulnerable, humiliated. And yet, there was a strange thrill in being noticed. A child pointed and smiled. Mommy, she's pretty. My knees nearly buckled. Lila's hand was steady on mine, a tether keeping me upright. See, she whispered. She's already beautiful. People see her exactly as she is. And you are learning to accept it. Every compliment, every glance, every recognition from strangers and acquaintances became a mirror reflecting a truth I could no longer deny. The girl in the mirror wasn't going away. She was here to stay, whether I wanted it or not. We stopped at a cafe with large windows, forcing me to sit where everyone could see. I smiled nervously at passers-by. Some smiled back, some whispered. And I felt it, the tension, the vulnerability, the exposure, all coiling around me like a living thing. Do you feel it? Lila asked softly, leaning close. The power of being her, of being seen? I nodded, unsure if my voice would betray me. My pulse pounded. I wanted to resist. I wanted to scream. But beneath it all, a flicker of understanding, perhaps even pride, ignited. Good, Lila said. Because soon, there will be no more hesitation. The world sees her, and so do you. This is the point of no return. Cliffhanger. As a familiar face appeared across the street, someone from my past, I froze. Recognition was inevitable. And in that instant, I realized the final test wasn't just public exposure, it was confronting the last link to my old life. Could I face it and still remain her? The late afternoon sun poured through the boutique's windows, turning every surface into molten gold. I stood in front of the mirror, my reflection catching my eyes before I could look away. The girl staring back wasn't just a disguise anymore, she was real. Every curve, every tremble, every subtle gesture had been forged by weeks of Lila's careful guidance. I barely recognized the boy I had been. Today is the final step, Lila said softly, almost reverently. Her fingers brushed over my shoulder, steady, possessive, yet warm. The world will see her, and you will see yourself. I swallowed, the lump in my throat growing heavier. Fear clawed at my chest, uncertainty pressing like a weight I couldn't lift. My old life, the life of Zach, the boy who used to run and hide, felt like a distant memory. But part of me still clung to it, even as the girl in the mirror whispered that she was here to stay. Lila handed me the final outfit, a flowing dress, delicate but commanding in its elegance, paired with shoes that clicked confidently on the boutique's polished floor. Every piece of it screamed transformation, permanence. Put it on, Lila instructed. And when you step outside, own it. No hesitation, no doubt, only her. I did as I was told, my hands shaking as I smoothed the fabric over my shoulders. The mirror reflected every inch of the transformation, every detail perfected. My hair, my posture, the soft tilt of my chin. I couldn't deny it. She was beautiful. She was real. You're ready, Lila whispered. But the choice, it's still yours. Her words sent a jolt through me.
Choice.
That tiny sliver of freedom felt like a lifeline, even as everything else seemed to have been stripped away. I stepped forward, letting my heels guide me closer to the mirror. The streets outside were alive with movement. Crowds moved like rivers, their eyes scanning, noticing, reacting. Every glance felt magnified. Every whisper seemed pointed at me. Step out, Lila said. Her hand rested lightly on my back, steadying me. Show the world her. Show yourself. I exhaled, a trembling breath that carried months of fear, humiliation, and reluctant pride. My feet moved forward, each click of the heels an affirmation, deliberate, unshakable. I could feel eyes on me, strangers measuring me, unaware of the storm inside. And then, across the street, a familiar face. Alex. He froze, eyes wide. Recognition flashed, confusion and awe mingling on his expression. I felt my pulse spike, my chest tightening, my old identity clawing at me, desperate to return. But then I remembered Lila's words. Own it. Show yourself. I lifted my chin, my shoulders square. The girl in the mirror stared back, trembling yet poised, exposed yet unbroken. And for the first time, I let a small, confident smile cross my lips. Alex's mouth opened, but no words came. The recognition, the shock, it didn't matter. Because for the first time, I felt something I hadn't felt in weeks. Control. Not over Lila, not over the world, but over myself, over this new identity that had been forced into existence yet now felt undeniably real. Lila's hand rested on mine, fingers entwined. Do you see her? She asked softly. I nodded, voice steady, trembling just slightly. I see her. I am her. A shiver ran through me, but it wasn't fear. It was acceptance. Pain and loss mingled with relief, grief mingled with pride. The boy I had been still lingered somewhere in my mind, but the girl I had become stood forward, trembling but unyielding, real and undeniable. The crowd moved around me, oblivious, yet the world felt different. It was no longer a place of judgment, of fear, of hiding. It was a stage, and I was finally ready to step onto it fully. Lila smiled, her eyes glinting with satisfaction.
Good.
The world sees her, and so do you. This is the beginning. For a long moment, I let the reflection sink in. The girl in the mirror, the one who had been crafted, tested, humiliated, and shaped, was finally mine, fully, irrevocably, and unmistakably. And as I stepped further into the sunlight, heels clicking, dress flowing, heart racing, I realized it wasn't the end. It was something far more terrifying and beautiful. The beginning of her life, my life, in the world, unshielded, unashamed, and undeniably real. Somewhere in the crowd, a whisper passed, "She's amazing." And I smiled, not the boy, not the shadow of who I was, but her. Fully, completely, finally her. The morning sunlight spilled through my apartment window, soft and golden, but the warmth did little to calm the storm inside me. Being her was no longer a temporary experiment. It had become reality. Every gesture, every word, every glance now shaped by the girl I had become. Lila sat across from me, her expression unreadable, a mixture of pride and expectation. "How do you feel?" she asked softly, her eyes searching mine. I hesitated, struggling to articulate the whirlwind inside me. Pride, fear, and confusion battled with one another. I don't know," I admitted, voice barely above a whisper. "It feels real, but sometimes I still feel Zach." Lila smiled faintly. "Good. That means you're human. That tug between the old and the new is what makes her strong. Remember, the world doesn't see Zach anymore. They see her. And so should you." The truth of her words sank in. Every outing, every glance from strangers, every small compliment or recognition, they all reinforced it. I had learned to navigate the world as her, to survive the scrutiny, the whispers, the expectations. And with each passing day, Zach felt more distant. Later, walking through the park, I noticed the familiar sights of my old neighborhood. Memories of my old life, friends, school, casual afternoons, pressed at me like a tide threatening to pull me under. I froze, realizing how much of myself I had left behind in the weeks of transformation. Then I saw a group of teenagers passing by, their laughter ringing in the air. One of them, a boy I had known in school, looked straight at me. Recognition flickered in his eyes. Panic surged. Could he see through the girl I had become? Lila's hand found mine, grounding me. "Breathe," she whispered. "You are her, and no one can touch that unless you let them." Her words, simple yet commanding, reminded me that control had shifted. Not just over my appearance, but over how I moved through the world. The boy in the park didn't matter. My past didn't matter. Only her did. Still, a flicker of fear lingered. Could I ever fully reconcile the life I had left behind with the person I had become? Could I ever face those who had known Zach without faltering? By evening, the apartment felt quieter, but the questions remained. Lila poured tea, setting the cup in front of me with deliberate care. Tomorrow, we introduce her to more of the world. Public spaces, new faces, and experiences she has yet to master. I nodded slowly, realizing that acceptance wasn't the end. It was only the beginning, a life of walking the delicate balance between past and present, navigating a world that would always see her first, and me only in shadows. I looked in the mirror one last time that night. The girl who stared back was confident, poised, and undeniably real. But behind the reflection, I could still see faint traces of Zach, a reminder of where I had come from and the journey that had transformed me. As I turned away from the mirror, a notification buzzed on my phone, a message from someone from my old life. The past wasn't gone, and now she would have to face it as her.